special edition of etalk. As a solo artist and lead singer of the legendary girl group the Go-Gos, Belinda Carlisle's lived quite the life. During a time when guys ruled the rock world, Belinda and her bandmates shook things up, becoming the first all-female act to hit #1 on the Billboard charts. But along with her success came a personal struggle with drug and alcohol addiction, as well as a severe eating disorder. Detailing her tumultuous career and eventual sobriety in her candid new memoir, Lips Unsealed, Belinda sits down in our etalk newsroom to talk about fame, family, and beating the odds. Belinda, thank you so much for joining us. It's such a pleasure, and this is quite a spectacular read. So what was it like for you to kind of like sit down and put your thoughts together for this book?
It was hard. It was a daunting task, to say the least. You know, to reach back and to dig and to try to remember things. There's a lot that's left out. Everything that's in the book, I mean, it's funny because people are so shocked. To me, it's not that shocking because I left the really shocking things out.
Did you?
Oh yeah. I mean, I had
so
to
honest,
because
though, too. And
I am honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm totally honest. But there's just some things that are just not that easily digestible. So I left those out. But it was hard digging back, and you know, first of all, I started with encapsulating my life in 25 pages, which is hard to do. And then once I started really writing the book, is to break things down by decades and outlines, and obviously never kept a journal, but I did the best I could. I'm proud of it.
I love it. Yeah, you should be proud of it. This is a very candid book, and it's one of the things that I love about it. And you go into great detail about some difficult situations in your time. When did you decide you wanted to write this?
Well, I always wanted to write a book, and I always knew I would. I always knew I had it in me, and you know, part of this book is partly about my 30-year struggle with cocaine and alcohol. After I'd been sober for a little over 5 years, and I thought about 2 years into my sobriety that it was time, because I had clarity, I had the time, I had the mindset to be able to accomplish something like this.
I mean, what does that do to your being? I mean, I'm glad you're here.
Know. I'm still,
you know.
Well, I mean,
incredible.
God, there's this, you know, there's a lot of shame that you carry. I mean, 30 years of that is a heavy burden. You know, it's complex. It's a complex thing.
You have a lot of famous friends, and you kind of do some name dropping in here. Were you ever concerned about how they would react about?
Most of them I did. Nice. I mean, I was pretty vague, actually. I think with the people that are mentioned in the book, and you know, I mean, I guess the one that not so vague was the John Belushi story, but I mean, that was just another example of how drugs can ruin somebody.
How important was it for you to get this out?
I've known I've had an extraordinary life, and I thought that, you know, besides it being a rock and roll story, I wanted it to be something else. Little did I know what it would be. But I thought at this point it could be, it's a book about overcoming obstacles, and also about finding out who you are. Like, for years, my profession, that was my identity. It's about self-discovery, and it's also about making changes late in life, and it's possible, you know. And so, I mean, I think it could be helpful to people on a lot of different levels.
So not aimed at women in particular?
Oh, I've gotten a ton of letters, mostly men, actually.
What was something that they walked away with after reading this?
I guess a lot of them talked about the shame, and also about there was something in there that they related, you know, they just related to the feelings in the book, just the emotions and the feelings, and you know, it made them think about their own life, and if it helps somebody like decide to turn their life around, that's great. I mean, that was kind of the intent anyway.
I was amazed at how, you know, reading your stories about going to parties or going to different countries, and then just knowing how to sniff out where, you know, who would know where to get, and then, but that you were not concerned, it seemed, about your anonymity or who you were. I mean, you're Belinda Carlisle of the Go-Gos, right?
I was blessed. I mean, actually, when I got sober, I made a list of 20 ways I had been protected during my 30 years, and I could you know, triple that list easily.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that I was never filmed on a cell phone, on a mobile phone, or
Like in this
just
day and
cops,
age,
called. There were times there were close calls. I did a lot of stupid things, but really stupid things. But it's pretty amazing that I sort of got by the skin of my teeth. Really,
yeah, like you just were not found out. And I was like, wow,
I know. Well,
wouldn't happen today. But
towards the end, I know exactly. I mean, if I was doing then what I'm now, it would be.
Oh,
I would never have gotten away with it for so long. But I mean, towards the end, it was obvious that there was something was up.
After the break,
oh my God, those are amazing days.
Belinda remembers the early days before her life turned upside down.
We knew we were on the verge of something.
And later, she recounts her painful past.
For me, it went back to a lot of father issues I had with my father leaving and abuse.